Hi, welcome to the Sew Along 2018 using the New Zealand fabrics by Nutex, and this time I'm going to show you how to do the alternate blocks, which on the quilt that we're making here is the blocks that form this chain that goes right through between all the other very delicious blocks. And so we're also going to make some blocks, partial blocks that go down the sides and the corner blocks, so that you can be making all these during the same time that we're making the blocks that go in between, so that there's something happening in the background. This is kind of the background information, the chugging away in the background. So relatively straightforward. We're going to start off, we've got some notes that will come with your pattern, and it's going to tell you the sizes of some strips to cut, of the different fabrics that we're using. We're using these very delicious PowerShell type fabrics, and we're going to cut some different size strips with the background and with the PowerShell. And so then we're going to be using the strips the full width of the fabric, and I've only got a short length here because I've already been slicing mine up. Started off full width of fabric, so quite long strips. We've got the background and the power in between, and then we're going to slice them up, and I've already done some slicing here, which is why my strips are getting so short. And all the measurements and things are in your pattern notes. So we're going to slice all those accordingly, and we're going to use those. This is actually the middle strip of the block here, so that you can see that that's part of that there. And then we need to do some with some others, different size strips. We need some smaller ones, and again, these have shrunk considerably. These were long, full width, with the fabric strips of two different fabrics here, with the, again, similar sort of PowerShell type look about them. And we're going to slice those up in just the same way. So we've got these little slices that come off those, and there's probably some more there somewhere because we need a few of those. As you can see, there's quite a few of those little ones in each block. So fairly straightforward sewing the long strips. One thing I'll mention when you're sewing the long strips together, just be careful that they don't stretch and get out of kilter. So it may be helpful to put a couple of pins or clips along the way so that things are not stretching. Or if you have a dual feed on your sewing machine or a walking foot, that often helps it feed through nice and evenly as well. So we've done some different size strips using some different fabrics, and we've cut them all up into little pieces. So when you've got these little pieces here, we're going to now make some little 4 patches with those, and I've gone ahead and I've made some here so that you can see. So there's quite a few of these. As I said, there's 4 little 4 patches in each block, plus there's the side blocks and the corner blocks as well. So all that information, as I said, is in the pattern. So go ahead and make up the 4 patches, quite a few of them. So as I said, this is something you can be doing while we're making all the other main blocks for the sew along. So you can just be doing a section of this at a time. You don't have to do this all in one sitting. You could be sewing all your strips together. You can be slicing. You can make some 4 patches in between. There's things that you can be doing that it doesn't have to be too onerous. So having made the little 4 patches and our little slices like this, we also need to cut out some squares. Now these squares are going to be used in several places, but in particular at the moment in between our little 4 patches, so that we're going to end up with a similar strip to this, but it's going to have 4 patches instead of the single square in the middle. And just be aware when you put them together that they're turned around the right way, so that the small square will sit next to the larger square in the middle. So you don't want them sitting both the same way, they do turn around. So just be aware of the positioning for that. So I think you've got the hang of all this. This is fairly straightforward sewing, slicing, dicing, tasting. When you're making the 4 patches, well, any of them for that matter, because we're making quite large quantities of some of these, you can go ahead and chain piece. This is always a good way when there's a large amount of something to do. You can also use these as little run-on, run-offs on your sewing machine. You know, sometimes the machine can just grab a little, and it's quite handy to have a little run-on and off leader and ender type things. These work well for that sort of thing, and you're doing them then without even knowing you're doing them. How amazing is that? So where are we up to? We better get back to the job. So we've made these and we've made these. So now we've got to join some of these to some of these. And before we get too excited, we need to leave some of those, once they're joined, set aside, because this becomes this side block here. So these come around on the side of the quilt that finish off the chain right out to the edge. So we don't do a border, we're kind of making the border out of the blocks as we go. So set aside those. Again, the notes will tell you how many to do of those. And then we can, with the main majority of them, we're going to add another one of these on the other side, and I don't have another one made just now, but this one here that's nearly made is going to go on one side, this one's going to go on the other, so that this chain comes into the middle. So just keep an eye on this positioning of the little ones there. And so we've got to make quite a few of those. And then there's going to be some other little bits and pieces, which is really just a quarter of, or I don't know, a third of the block, whatever it is. It's a portion of the block, and we just need 4 of those, and that's for our 4 corners, again, to finish that chain out at the corner of the quilt. So this is something that, as I said, you can be doing whilst we're doing the other blocks. You can just be working away at these so that it's not too much of a job at the end to do everything. So I thought if we had the information now. So you've cut out quite a few of this size square. There's also another cutting instruction in those notes for these pieces here, larger rectangles, and these form the sides in here of the outside edge of the quilt. So pop those aside, just label them. I've given some suggestions of how you might label things, and just put those aside until we go to put the quilt together, but they're all cut and ready to go if you do them now. So I think that's it for the alternate block. I don't think I need to sew anything particularly. It's all straightforward sewing. I just thought I'd show you how to do it, and that you've got the information so that you can be getting that all prepared as we do all those other exciting blocks. And these are exciting too, don't get me wrong. We'll see you when we're doing the other blocks. Thank you.